Hello, welcome back to India Career Center. And today we're diving into a topic that's honestly been weighing on my mind for a while, the crisis in Indian higher education. Now, I know crisis is a strong word, but as Professor Deepak Nair put it, there's a quiet crisis in our universities, and it's not so quiet anymore. You can see it, you can feel it, political interference, loss of autonomy, and let's be honest, a real impact on academic freedom. I mean, just look at what's happening not only in India but around the world. Right wing populism is on the rise, and universities are right in the crosshairs. In India, we've got the national education policy, centralized admissions through the National Testing Agency, and, well, appointments to academic bodies that are, let's say, not always about merit. The curriculum is being shaped to fit a single narrative, and that's narrowing the space for real intellectual debate. And it's not just us. Japan's seen the rise of the Sanseto Party, which is, kind of echoing that MAGA style nationalism. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban has basically put universities under loyalist foundations. And in the US, states like Florida and Texas are banning diversity programs and rewriting history textbooks. It's a global trend. Universities are being painted as these elitist ivory towers, and expertise itself is suddenly suspicious. The result? Well, we're seeing a brain drain like never before. In 2023 alone, over 900,000 Indian students went abroad, spending nearly $27 billion. That's not just a number, it's a generation looking for intellectual freedom elsewhere. I remember mentoring a student last year, brilliant mind, full of questions, but he told me, Sir, I just don't feel I can ask the questions I want to ask here. And that's heartbreaking. When our best and brightest feel stifled, something's gone wrong. The big question is, can our universities reclaim their role as spaces for inquiry and dissent, or are we just going to keep losing talent and ideas to places that value academic freedom more? To really get a sense of what's possible, I think we need to look back, way back actually, to the European Renaissance. Now, I'm not saying history repeats itself, but it does rhyme, right? The Renaissance was born out of crisis too, the Black Death, collapsing feudal systems, the church's authority being questioned, and out of all that chaos came this explosion of reason, pluralism, and creativity. What made it possible? Well, for one, universities started to break away from strict theological dogma. They became places where you could actually ask new questions, challenge old answers, and, mix art with science, philosophy with mathematics. Greek scholars brought ancient texts to Italy, and suddenly there was this hunger for knowledge. The printing press, now that was a game changer. It democratized information, made it possible for ideas to travel far beyond the walls of monasteries or royal courts. If you think about it, the internet today is kind of our printing press moment. Information is everywhere, and anyone with a smartphone can access the world's knowledge. But just like back then, it's not enough to have access. You need the freedom to use it, to question, to debate. So, what can Indian universities learn from that shift from dogma to inquiry? I think the answer lies in fostering interdisciplinary thinking. The Renaissance wasn't about staying in your lane, it was about crossing boundaries, connecting ideas. Today, we need to encourage that same spirit. Let's not just teach engineering or medicine or literature in silos. Let's create spaces where students can explore, experiment, and yes, even fail. That's how real innovation happens. And, I might be getting a bit philosophical here, but the Renaissance was also about rediscovering old wisdom and blending it with new ideas. We're seeing that now with a renewed interest in indigenous and non Western knowledge systems. It's not about rejecting the past or the West. It's about creating a richer, more pluralistic academic culture. So, where do we go from here? If we want our universities to lead a new renaissance, we need some serious reforms. First, governance has to be transparent. Appointments should be about expertise, not ideology. We need to insulate academia from political interference. Easier said than done, I know, Mase. I know, but it's essential if we want real academic freedom. Plurality is key. That means welcoming different perspectives, integrating indigenous knowledge like Advaita Vedanta with global research. I've seen firsthand how powerful this can be. As a career mentor, I've worked with students who are passionate about combining traditional Indian philosophy with modern science. It's not always easy. Sometimes the systems just aren't set up for that kind of cross-pollination, but when it works, it's transformative. We also need to look beyond our borders. Platforms like Scholars at Risk are doing important work, building transnational alliances to protect academic freedom. Indian universities can learn from these models, collaborate, share resources, and stand together for the values that make higher education meaningful. And maybe most importantly, we have to break down the walls between academia and society. Universities can't be ivory towers. They need to engage with communities, make research accessible, and promote civic education. I have spent years trying to bridge the gap between traditional academic models and the real world needs of students. It's not always a smooth ride, but it's worth it. So, to wrap up, are universities ready to lead a 21st century renaissance? I think they can, but only if they choose to rise above politics, embrace plurality, and reconnect with the spirit of inquiry. It's a tough road, but the potential is enormous. Thanks for listening, and as always, we'll keep exploring these big questions together in future episodes. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning.